Shadows from the Void. The quantum communication array at Horizon Research Station pulsed with an unexpected transmission. Dr. Marcus Reeves, lead xenoarchaeologist, leaned closer to the holographic display, his breath catching in his throat. The signal was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, a desperate plea that cut through the vast emptiness of space like a knife. The unexpected message. The transmission originated from a species calling themselves the Luminari, crystalline beings of pure energy and thought. Their message was both a warning and a desperate call for help. Massive mechanical predators known as the Void Harvesters were systematically destroying entire star systems, stripping planets of their core resources and leaving nothing but barren, lifeless husks in their wake. "We have watched your species from afar," the alien transmission explained, its harmonics resonating with an almost musical quality. "Of all the civilizations we have observed, you alone possess the unpredictability, the raw determination needed to stand against this threat." Marcus's colleague, Dr. Natalia Volkov, adjusted the signal's frequency, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "It's incredible," she muttered. "They've been studying us for centuries, and we never knew." The Void Harvester's trail of destruction. Detailed star charts began to populate the station's main screen. Red markers indicated systems already consumed by the Void Harvesters, each point representing millions of potentially extinct civilizations. The pattern was methodical, almost mathematical. These were not random attacks but a calculated harvesting operation that had been ongoing for potentially thousands of years. The Luminari's transmission continued, providing intricate details about the mechanical species. The Void Harvesters were not simply machines, they were a civilization of adaptive, resource-gathering entities that viewed all life as potential raw material. Their technology was beyond comprehension, capable of dismantling entire planetary cores in a matter of hours. "We lack the capacity to resist," the alien message concluded. "You, born on a world that tries to kill you every day, might be our only hope." Humanity's initial response. Within hours, the transmission reached the highest levels of global government. Emergency sessions were called. Military strategists, scientists, and political leaders converged in secure facilities around the world. General Catherine Rodriguez, head of the United Terran Defense Command, studied the star charts with a predatory intensity. "They want us to believe we're special," she said to the assembled experts. "But we're not just going to be someone else's weapon. If these Void Harvesters are coming, we'll be the ones deciding the terms of engagement." Quantum computing centers began analyzing the transmission's technical specifications. Engineers and physicists worked around the clock, reverse engineering the alien technology embedded within the message. If humanity was going to fight, they would do so with every ounce of ingenuity they possessed. The preparation begins. Research facilities that had previously focused on theoretical space exploration now transformed into war rooms. Experimental weapon systems, previously confined to classified labs, were being fast-tracked for production. Massive orbital shipyards, which had been constructing exploration vessels, began retooling for combat. What made humans unique, the Luminari had suggested, was their ability to adapt. Evolved on a planet of extreme conditions, crushing gravity, volatile weather patterns, constant geological upheaval, humans had developed a resilience that defied conventional understanding. "We're not just going to defend," Dr. Reeves told a gathering of international press. "We're going to show these Void Harvesters what it means to wake a sleeping giant." As the first wave of advanced combat vessels began their initial preparations, a sense of anticipation filled the air. Humanity had always looked to the stars with a mixture of wonder and ambition. Now, those stars were looking back, and they were coming with a challenge that would define the species' first true step into galactic conflict. The countdown to first contact had begun. And humanity was ready.
Forging the blade. The global mobilization happened with unprecedented speed. Within weeks of receiving the Luminary transmission, humanity transformed from a collection of competing nations to a unified force with a singular purpose: prepare for the coming storm. Technological acceleration. Advanced research facilities that had been working on theoretical propulsion and weapon systems were now operating at maximum capacity. The Quantum Adaptive Response Team, QART, a multinational group of the world's brightest engineers and scientists, began developing technologies specifically designed to counter the void harvesters. Dr. Imani Okoro, lead physicist at the Nairobi Advanced Research Complex, made a breakthrough that would change everything. Her team developed graviton modulation technology that could create localized high-density energy fields. These fields could potentially compress matter, a direct counter to the void harvesters' resource extraction methods. We're not just building weapons, Okoro explained during a classified briefing. We're creating a technological immune system for our entire species. Military restructuring. General Rodriguez oversaw the most comprehensive military reorganization in human history. Traditional branch distinctions dissolved. A new unified command structure emerged, one that prioritized adaptability over rigid hierarchies. Specialized training programs were developed. Recruits underwent extreme conditioning in simulated high-stress environments. Virtual reality scenarios reconstructed potential alien encounter strategies. Every soldier became part scientist, part warrior, trained to analyze and adapt in real time. Orbital defense platforms bristled with new weaponry. Experimental plasma cannons, quantum entanglement disruptors, and adaptive shield technologies transformed human space infrastructure into a formidable defensive network. The human psychological advantage. Psychological warfare experts noted something unique about humanity's approach. Where most species might have been paralyzed by fear, humans channeled their anxiety into productive preparation. The collective human psyche seemed to thrive on the challenge. Dr. Elena Martinez, a leading xenopsychologist, documented this phenomenon. Humans don't just survive challenges, she wrote in her classified report. They transform challenges into opportunities for growth, technological and biological augmentation. The human body itself became a research project. Genetic modification programs developed enhanced physiological capabilities. Cybernetic interfaces allowed soldiers to process information at unprecedented speeds. Neural networks were rewired to improve split-second decision-making. But these augmentations weren't about creating super soldiers. They were about expanding human potential, giving the species its best chance of survival. The first prototype. In the massive orbital shipyards above Earth, the first true anti-void harvester vessel took shape. The UTS Prometheus, a ship that represented humanity's technological and philosophical response to the incoming threat. Its hull was constructed from adaptive metamaterials that could reconfigure based on environmental pressures. Quantum computing cores allowed for near-instantaneous tactical recalculation. Most importantly, it embodied the human spirit of resilience. During its maiden simulation, the Prometheus performed beyond all expectations. It didn't just match the theoretical capabilities of the void harvesters, it demonstrated capabilities they couldn't predict. As the ship completed its trials, a message was prepared. Not a declaration of war, but a statement of intent. Humanity was ready, and whatever came from the darkness between stars would find more than just a target. They would find a species born to challenge the impossible. First encounter. The first contact with the void harvesters occurred in the Tau Ceti system. Humanity's advanced long-range sensors detected the mechanical entities stripping a resource-rich planet, their massive extraction modules drilling through planetary crust with ruthless efficiency. The initial engagement commander Rajesh Patel guided the UTS Prometheus into the system, the ship's adaptive hull shimmering with quantum-locked defensive matrices. The void harvester vessels looked like geometric nightmares, angular, obsidian-like structures that seemed more like mathematical equations given physical form than traditional spacecraft. No communication attempts, Patel ordered. They've already demonstrated they view all life as resources. Our priority is intervention. The first volley came from the void harvesters, energy beams that could liquefy conventional metal hulls. But the Prometheus responded differently. Its graviton shields not only absorbed the energy but redirected it, creating localized quantum disruption fields that seemed to confuse the mechanical attackers. Tactical unpredictability. What the void harvesters couldn't comprehend was human unpredictability. Their computational models were based on thousands of encountered civilizations, species that followed logical, predictable patterns of defense and retreat. Humans did neither. When the Prometheus's initial defensive maneuvers proved successful, Commander Patel didn't consolidate. Instead, he launched an aggressive counteroffensive that defied standard military doctrine. Fighter squadrons, each vessel a marvel of adaptive technology, swarmed the larger harvester ships like quantum-powered piranha. The psychological warfare Dr. Martinez's research proved prophetic. The human approach wasn't just about technological superiority, it was about psychological disruption. Each maneuver, each attack pattern was designed to break the harvester's computational predictability. Quantum-encrypted communication bursts carried deliberate inconsistencies. Mathematical algorithms embedded in weapon systems introduced chaotic elements that the harvester's central intelligence couldn't immediately process. A costly victory. The battle wasn't without sacrifice. 3 human vessels were destroyed, their crews knowing their deaths would provide tactical data for future engagements. But for every human ship lost, 2 harvester vessels were critically damaged. As the engagement concluded, the surviving void harvesters retreated, a behavior never before documented in their thousands of years of galactic harvesting. They had encountered a species that didn't just resist, a species that actively destabilized their entire operational paradigm. The aftermath transmission logs from the Luminari confirmed what human strategists suspected. This wasn't just a battle, it was a fundamental challenge to the Void Harvester's entire existential framework. They expected compliance or extinction, General Rodriguez remarked while reviewing the battle data. Instead, they found humanity. The message was clear. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy, and the Void Harvesters would soon learn that some resources fight back. The Galactic Crucible. The Void Harvesters' retreat was short-lived. Their computational networks began a comprehensive analysis of the human encounter, attempting to develop countermeasures against this unprecedented resistance. Strategic repositioning. Humanity used the brief respite to expand its defensive capabilities. The Luminari provided critical intelligence about harvester movement patterns, helping humans anticipate their next moves. Orbital shipyards worked around the clock, producing vessels that combined adaptive technology with raw combat potential. Commander Diana Wong of the UTS Horizon led a diplomatic initiative with the Luminari. Their crystalline communication networks revealed a broader galactic context. The Void Harvesters had been systematically eliminating potential technological threats for millennia. "We're not just fighting for ourselves," Wong explained during a strategic briefing. "We're fighting for every civilization these mechanical predators have silenced." The technological arms race quantum research facilities developed increasingly complex counter-technologies. Gravitational manipulation reached new heights. Weapon systems could now create localized space-time distortions, effectively creating quantum traps that could disable harvester vessels. The human approach was fundamentally different from previous civilizations. Where others saw the Void Harvesters as an insurmountable threat, humans saw an engineering problem to be solved. Psychological warfare escalation. Dr. Konstantin Volkov, leading the Psychological Warfare Division, developed algorithmic disruption protocols. These weren't just weapon systems, they were cognitive viruses designed to destabilize the harvester's decision-making. Matrices. They process information like a computer, Volkov explained. We'll give them information that breaks their computational logic. The turning point. The next major engagement occurred in the Epsilon Eridani system. The Void Harvesters arrived with an enhanced fleet, expecting to implement lessons learned from their previous encounter. Instead, they found a human force that had completely reinvented its tactical approach. Swarm tactics met quantum disruption. Adaptive ships moved in patterns that defied traditional combat mathematics. Each human vessel became both a weapon and a computational node in a larger, living network of resistance. The battle wasn't just about destruction. It was a statement. Humanity would not be reduced to a resource to be harvested. A message to the galaxy. As the engagement concluded, the surviving Void Harvester vessels transmitted a signal that human analysts would later describe as close to fear. They had encountered a species that didn't just resist, a species that actively sought to understand and then deconstruct their entire operational paradigm. The message was clear. Humanity had become more than just another civilization in the galaxy. They were a force to be reckoned with, unpredictable, resilient, and utterly determined to chart their own course among the stars. The Cosmic Reckoning. The final confrontation with the Void Harvesters would become known as the Battle of Omega Centauri, a moment that would redefine galactic power dynamics forever. The ultimate engagement, humanity assembled its entire operational fleet, over 500 ships, each a testament to technological innovation and adaptive warfare. The Luminary provided critical intelligence, their observation networks tracking the Void Harvesters' massive invasion force. Commander Hiroshi Nakamura of the UTS Avalon led the human fleet. Their strategy was nothing short of revolutionary. A multi-dimensional assault that transformed space itself into a weapon. Quantum entanglement generators created localized reality distortions. Ships moved not just through space, but through carefully manipulated probability fields. Each vessel became both weapon and shield, a living component of a larger strategic organism. The breaking point. The Void Harvesters arrived with what they believed was an overwhelming force, thousands of mechanical vessels designed for total resource extraction. They expected compliance or annihilation. Instead, they found humanity. Human ships dove through impossible vectors. Weapon systems fired not just energy, but computational disruption waves that tore apart the Harvesters' logical frameworks. Every time the mechanical entities attempted to categorize and counter human tactics, the humans changed the entire engagement's fundamental parameters. Technological transcendence. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, chief of Xenotechnology, had prepared humanity's ultimate weapon. It wasn't a physical device, but a quantum-based cognitive disruptor that could fundamentally challenge the Void Harvesters' computational existence. "We're not just fighting," Rodriguez explained. "We're rewriting the rules of engagement." The turning point. As the battle reached its crescendo, something unprecedented happened. The Void Harvesters began to fragment, not just physically, but in their core operational matrix. Humanity had done more than defeat a technological enemy. They had presented a form of resistance that challenged the very concept of technological predation. Aftermath and implications. When the cosmic dust settled, less than a third of the human fleet remained, but the Void Harvester invasion force had been completely obliterated. The Luminary transmission captured the moment's significance. You have not just defended yourselves, you have changed the fundamental understanding of survival in the galaxy. Humanity had announced its arrival on the galactic stage, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as a species that would define its own destiny among the stars. The universe would never be the same.